Hey guys, Lex here, back for some more of the Great Ace Attorney. Last time, we started off in the experimentation stage, then we went to Madame Tusspells, where there was no one there, and now let's go on to the forensic laboratory. Oh. 23rd of October, Forensics Laboratory. I believe this is it. Dr. Scythe's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose, and there's plenty to assault the eyes in here too.
Looks as though the doctor isn't here, but we're here now, so we might as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you become, Mrs. Sato. We could just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Table and a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. So why is that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing?
It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing a large tome that's open on the desk makes me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air?
You'd either have to have a cast iron constitution, or a really terrible sense of smell. Oh. Those large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. I suppose they're fruit liquors or something, or like pickled umeboshi plums we make back at home.
Father had jars like that in his laboratory as well. Expect they're human organs in preserving solution. Probably as examples of some rare medical condition.
Mrs. Sato, there are some things in the world that it's perfectly fine never to know about, ever.
Oh.
As I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umeboshi, aren't they?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, this one's umeboshi. Those bottles on the shelves in the cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals.
These ones are labeled highly toxic.
That's worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers here.
Oh, yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. Doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes.
Life goes on even when you're surrounded by death.
I suppose this is Dr. Scythe's desk.
I would not like to work in a place like this.
It's very tidy though, isn't it, Mr. Haruto? Imagine how efficiently she must work.
The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes. The chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you as you work, which is definitely bad for the nerves.
Well, yes, those are valid concerns, I suppose.
I could just about cope with a one-eyed Dharma doll watching over me, but that's all. Is that it? Oh, skeleton. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. Cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are skilled, aren't they?
You have nothing to say about the skeleton inside Naruto?
Mrs. Sato, can't you tell I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents in the case? It's how I cope.
I'll be sure to remember that from now on.
Hey.
It looks like an owl and a crow up there.
I know, and they haven't even twitched since we came in here.
Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruto.
I was afraid you were going to say that. I'm trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open.
Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Dharma doll on display in the office instead.
Hey guys, Editor Lex here. I missed examining an item here, and then I spent over 10 minutes looking around for what to do next. I cut up most of it except for these two parts. Actually, I never examined this. Is there anything to examine? Oh. Ah, look at here, Mr. Sato.
Ah yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose it's because it fell from such a great height.
Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying down into the crystal tower below. A fall about 30 feet or 9 meters.
Leaving the man inside tragically dead.
If that's it, then. Professor, do you recognize this?
Oh, it's Andrew, my faithful friend. How have you been? Are you alright? Nobody's mistreated you, have they?
Don't worry, he's been very well looked after.
I always rub him with machine oil until he's gleaming.
Right.
And then, when I come to tighten the screw with him, he slips in my hand and I can't do it.
It's an age-old problem faced by trivophiles the world over, isn't it? I really wouldn't know, I'm afraid. How come I couldn't see this? Oh my god. Look at this big thick book here.
Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh.
What is it?
It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but... well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? In what way?
They're buying 500 scalpels every month.
500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses.
I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances. Scalpel blades can be sharpened too.
It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all of them for? That's weird.
What are you doing here?
Ah! Oh, she looks so evil. Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so...
So you thought you'd snoop around. That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Asmund's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings. Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately.
Let's present this. Dr. Scythe, would you be good enough to take a look at this?
Oh, you think I'm good enough, do you?
Oh, no, I didn't mean...
So I'm not good enough. In that case, why would you show me anything?
Clearly you're too good for me to show you anything again, ever. Just talk to her.
So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? The victim, Mr. Odi Asman, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Asman who appeared moments later partway up the crystal tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
But that can't be right.
If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. If two people who look very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as one single person who had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared, and the man who subsequently reappeared, was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident.
Fingerprints.
They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system. but one day they will be used as an investigative aid, as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Oh!
Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It made the whole thing even more of a mystery.
What the hell is this? Mama, what is this?
Ah! Oh, where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama?
This is a lawyer, dear. Oh.
Hello. To meet you. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer, Rinascanaro.
Mama. Yes. Can I cut this one up?
What?
Never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen. You can very well see. Oh. Boring.
I think I just had a near-death experience.
Oh dear, Mr. Naruto. You're as pale as a corpse.
Yeah, then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. We could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Trevor.
Sure, Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful. You're right. Gotta find him at Madame Tusspells. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit.
Yes, Harris told me all about his latest unusual venture.
So, what are you doing at the moment, Doctor?
Keeping a close eye on things so no impertinent Easterners think they can look around my office.
Are there such thing as impertinent Easterns around? How terrible.
Yes, you.
She doesn't mince her words, Miss Sato.
Perhaps it's time we left.
Yeah. Let's go. Where's Tusspells? There she is. Yay. 23rd of October. Madame Tusspells Museum of Waxworks.
Here we are again at the House of Horrors. Afraid I haven't gotten used to this place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home via the confectionery, of course.
Sato-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she?
Eek!
What's the matter?
Look, Mr. Naruto, look at Waxwork. Quite sure it wasn't there before. Looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes down to the very last detail.
Aha!
What is it?
Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself.
Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee.
Oh yes, hello again. I'm Ryunosuke Naruto.
I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. The precious waxwork is already back where he belongs.
You don't mean...
But yes, the mystery is solved already.
Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough.
So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties.
Yes.
His habitual duties? No. Do not disturb, huh?
Poor Sato-san, she looks very perplexed. I want to see the thing. Oh, I want to see this. And oh, I can't. So we talk to Sholmes.
You really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again. But where is he?
I think you might find he's quite nearby, actually.
Oh. What do you...
Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I. World-famous great detective in waxwork, Sherlock Sholmes. This is how to take down.
Sazada-san! Sazada-san!
My most humble apologies.
Thought I'd died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment via London.
My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not a questionable street food quality.
Don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes?
Merely a secret identity, you understand, though the case is largely solved now.
Largely solved?
We are talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume? Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess I'm yet to partake of pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today, for that matter. Stomach grumble echoed around the whole museum. So how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone?
Oh yes, it's a modern invention allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as of yet.
This morning, a telephone call was received here from the proprietor of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. It's amazing. Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had already intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event.
Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no?
Yes, I think perhaps. Ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive.
But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary?
A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tusspells at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? We're here in the process of trying to track somebody down.
Oh. Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Trevor. He's the swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine.
A swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts, too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on, that's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It's a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Trevor's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruto, stay the piercing stare. What is this about?
Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear.
So then, let us unravel this mystery. Discover what events led to this curious murder.
told us that it was murder. To examine Kazuma-sama's body.
Indeed, and wherein lies the problem?
I met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Sobi.
You're quite sure?
He was wearing some sort of mask. Was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It's Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead.
Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere at the moment. The fellow wasn't dead at all. Priceless. I don't suppose the performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruto? I could believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake. Not you, Mr. Sholmes. Will now tell you something of first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. Now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. Damn it. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print?
It's of Mr. Enoch Trevor, face of the engineer we seek.
Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course, so looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? Oh yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed.
What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden.
Is he the one, you negotiate with? I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruto. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? Let's explain to you when you arrived. The missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh, yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings. As a special one-time only price, you understand. What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Would you like to see the fruits of my labor?
Oh, well, we do have rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone?
The price is very reasonable, 5 shillings. I think you'll find it well worth it.
Oh.
Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you. That's the point.
Very well. Penherd, here's your 5 shillings.
Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure.
Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit.
Through those heavy curtains at last. Okay. 5 shillings we've had to pay? It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it?
No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills.
Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands or chip-loving inspectors.
Inspector Crooks comes off rather well on that list, I think.
The 3rd of October. Madame Tusspells special exhibit. Holy shit.
Oh dear, feel a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here.
Mrs. Sato. I say we turn on our heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already.
True. Actually, I'm looking at a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of that great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here. Didn't he? But where? Since we've paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we?
We will get what we paid for.
Is that fear or frustration that's making Mrs. Sato's son's voice tremble? Let's look at that owl. Okay.
This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real.
Seems to be a young man in a white overcoat.
And he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look.
Yep, that's a shovel. Perhaps we should investigate it in a little more detail. Oh. Hey, it's the guy. What's this here?
Well, this would appear to be lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera.
Ah, a camera, but it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' fingerprints?
Perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' invention as exceptions to the rule. Anyway, why would a man be in a graveyard at night with a camera?
I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film?
Ugh. Just borrow this for a while, I think.
Camera. So we just stole the camera.
By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we could see what picture was taken.
It's a photographic plate.
It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to light coming through the lens. I opened the cover at the back of the camera. We should find it. Let's have a look.
You should see yourself, Sasato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Oh, come on. I want to take a look at the shovel.
What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth is the man doing with a shovel in the graveyard in the middle of the night?
Oh, Mrs. Sato.
Yes?
That's a spade, isn't it? No, it's not.
No, it's a shovel.
No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade.
Been through this, Mr. Naruto. It's a shovel.
No, although we haven't considered trowels. That's not a trowel.
We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement.
We're going to bury the hatchet? You're right, though. What the man was doing in the graveyard in the first place, that's the real question. That's a shovel and it's for digging. That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or perhaps it's a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese chochin paper lantern, isn't it?
Lamp, lantern, chochin. The point is, it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this. Well, I certainly couldn't do it.
Not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. Can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just...
Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruto?
If I put back exactly as it was, don't worry.
Ah! What? What on earth? How can...
Don't believe it.
A black monocle? Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible this man is...
Yes.
It's Enoch Drebber. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him.
Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes, this man is the subject of your present haunt, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit?
And why does the convict behind him have no head?
The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. But then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved. In my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head. Toot the sweet, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Ah!
Do you know, though, something about this room? It's strange.
Strange? What do you mean?
Well, the display in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not?
Indeed they are, Mrs. Otto. Do go on.
And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't have ever really happened, could it?
I think it's time I educated you a little. What the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Oh. Sweet. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, every one being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies.
Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful.
After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? You mean that the professor's identity? As you've surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He is buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been killed. However, that was not the end of the affair.
Oh.
That very night he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Huh? Came back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts the very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a witness? But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, a convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. Sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old.
So horrifying.
Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. The sheer terror of what he had seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic over every last detail about the killer who had come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tusspells.
I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. What I don't understand is what Mr. Tripper was doing in the first place, in a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night.
Yes, what was he up to? He is the professor. Professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer has ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale.
But why did the people stop believing it?
Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of. This was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in low-grade cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution.
No! But that would mean Mr. Tripper must have lied to the police and the newspapers.
That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking then that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life, that's not possible. Tripper's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe that the incident was out and out lie. Said it? So shows about this. Rather busy at the moment. Wait, I gotta examine it. Jose Thorpens per item of consultation fee, that's 2 hours of gas, that is. Examine.
Oh, what a wonderful machine.
You really love contraptions like this, don't you?
Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible.
Almost irresistible, surely.
Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart.
That's worrying.
Yes, Father tells me time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch.
Poor Professor Mikatoba. And what's this blood stain?
Look, Mr. Naruto.
What is it?
The bellows. Just here. There seems to be some very dark red stains.
Yes, you're right. It's like blood, actually.
Oh my.
I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Oh, look, the cover came open.
Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, see?
Something wrong?
There's no plate. It's been removed.
Ah, what a pity. I suppose if you think about it, there wouldn't be an actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we'd never found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway.
Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course.
Presses out to son. She looks devastated. That's it. Try to present it again. Nope. I never examined this.
This must be the killer. The fiend known as the professor.
Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tusspells said. He killed 5 victims, all noble or royal blood.
The Waxworks are so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place.
I know. Well, it looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we should examine a little more in detail.
So this is the condemned man.
Yes, the so-called professor.
And then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost.
Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mrs. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see?
Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it.
It's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it?
Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum.
That would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Would there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh! Something caught just inside the convict's jacket. Here. It's like a piece of broken glass. And quite a big piece, too.
It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than the normal window glazing, I'd say.
Where could such a thick piece of glass come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why?
Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, which is a big building, for example.
Ah, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? Some of the glass was broken too.
You don't mean?
Exactly, the Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition.
Why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside the Waxworks jacket?
Makes you think, doesn't it? A piece of glass. Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. Now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? So they used this waxwork. Is that it?
Ah! What in the bleeding Lord? What have you gone and done?
Gina, what are you doing here?
I asked Iris and she said this is where you be, so... Gina, it's allowed in the museum.
Madam's Tusspells will have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. I think there might be a more pressing concern.
I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... Alright, Gina, we understand, but please, put down the gun. Sorry, I got scared.
You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So what brings you here, Gina?
What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found the dodgy Cove's workshop.
What? You found Drebber's workshop?
Yep, Toby Snows took me straight there. Boss and the others are headed over there right now, in a drag, so come on. Here's the address, I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then, see you there.
Yuko, don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place in the exhibit over there.
Oh dear, someone is feeling sorry for himself.
Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words hearten me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense, and Iris's dinner plate would be empty once more. Forget that, I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail the carriage at once. No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then.
I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruto.
Thank you, Mrs. Hato. Right, let's go. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna have an episode here, and the next time we'll explore the workshop. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.